Hi, this is Marty Grimes from Santa Clara Valley Water District, and welcome to this month's edition of The People Behind Your Water. And this month we're out in the field again. We're going to be we are here at Almaden Lake, and we're going to be learning about this little island behind me. It's you may not think it's much, but wait till we get out there and wait till you hear about it. There's some really interesting things going on there. And to start the discussion about that, I have with me here Judy Ingalls from the Water District. Judy, welcome.
Thank you.
And before we get started, Judy, can you just tell us what your role is at the Water District?
I work for the Vegetation Management Unit. I'm a Senior Field Operations Administrator, Supervisor for the revegetation program.
So revegetation, which means you do a lot of planting, what does that entail?
Where there are bank repair projects or other capital projects, the district goes in and plants native to restore the habitat value of the different sites along the creeks and waterways.
All right, and you've been at the district for quite a while, right?
15 years.
15 years, you got me beat. I've only been here 12. Okay, so about this particular island that we're looking at, first of all, what do you call that island?
We call it Almaden Lake Island.
Okay, and it's a small island. How big is that?
It's about 14,000 square feet, about a third of an acre.
Okay, and how did it get here? Why is that island sitting in the middle of Almaden Lake?
It actually was, the entire thing is an arundo clump, a arundo cluster. So when the arundo donax, false bamboo, when it grew, it just kind of kept accumulating and it solidified the soil that was there.
So that island wasn't there years ago at all?
I don't know how long it's been there.
Wow, okay, so you mentioned arundo. Tell us more about arundo.
Arundo is again, it's false bamboo. It was planted originally for erosion control, brought in and probably for ornamental purposes. But it likes this area and so much of California so well that it pretty much takes over, clogs waterways. It just will take over everything, soak up water, and it becomes a monoculture so that other native plants aren't allowed to grow.
So you're not happy when you see a big clump of arundo growing out in a creek, right?
Correct, and it spreads very aggressively. Any little piece of it breaks off, it can spread. So we've had a multi-year, multi-million-dollar project going on to remove arundo from the creeks. It's been very successful, and this island has been part of that.
So you removed the arundo here, but you didn't do it all at once. So it took a while to do that. Why didn't you just cut it down or spray some herbicide on it? Why did it take a while to remove it?
Well, as you can see from the population of the island, this is a really important piece of property to the birds. And there was a great concern about, well, if you take the arundo off, where are they going to go? Where are they going to have to nest and raise their young? So we came up with a plan of doing it in phases. And we actually started planting way early in the open areas where we could to get the plants up, get them to size so the birds could use them. It would support nests. And then over the course of 3 to 5 years, we took off the arundo in phases and added more plants. And that allowed the existing plants to grow up and take over from where the arundo was.
Mm-hmm. So arundo actually does provide habitat for some animals, even though it's invasive. So it's kind of a balance. You want it out, but you don't. But there's still animals living there.
You still need the structure there. You still need something for them to perch on.
So this little island has been known as a place for birds for some time, even when it was full of arundo.
Yeah, it's been important to the Audubon Society, and they've kept quite a close eye on it. A lot of good bird watchers out here really keeping an eye on what we've been doing and wondering if it was going to be successful. And happily, it looks like it is successful.
Great. So this was kind of an experimental project to revegetate this little island with natives and over time remove the arundo?
It wasn't necessarily experimental. We did come up with some different techniques because this is very unique. It's an island for one, so everything that has to be boated on and then has to be boated off for any of the supplies. We've had great cooperation and collaboration between our biologists and them helping us figure out what we can do, when we can do it. That's been very important. And also the city park staff have been really supportive in this measure too.
Okay, I'm now here with Joe Chavez, who is one of our biologists.
Yes, but wildlife fisheries biologist, working predominantly as the lead biologist on the stream maintenance program.
Okay, and just briefly, what's the stream maintenance program?
The stream maintenance program is our multi-year program that covers basically our maintenance work in the streams, flood control projects, a large amount of vegetation management work we do, and bank control projects, along with several other minor maintenance activities like rodent control, removing blockages in the creeks, trash removal, graffiti, and other smaller things like that as well.
Okay, and how long have you been doing that?
I've been here at the district as a temp and then full-time. I've been here about 8 years now.
And what's your favorite part of your job?
I like that I get to oversee the work we do in the streams and protecting the resources like the wildlife, the nesting birds, and then I get to be outside from time to time.
Right, you certainly get out more than I do. So this particular project, you've been watching this new habitat come into fruition for how many years?
Well, we met in 2008 in the fall to come up with a strategy for the work we were going to do here on Almaden Lake Island. The idea being that it was completely covered in arundo. It was a targeted site to get credit for arundo removal for the stream maintenance program. We owed 125 acres as mitigation for all the activities in the stream maintenance program. This particular site was targeted because arundo reproduces by fragmentation. When pieces break away and float downstream, they start a new clump of arundo. So when the island would erode, it would float downstream, and we have other clumps of arundo downstream. So the idea was if we remove the arundo here, we could prevent it from floating downstream, causing problems elsewhere.
Okay, so it's multi-benefit.
Yes.
It's going to help. It's helping create this great place for the birds.
Yep.
And prevent arundo, to some extent, from sprouting up downstream.
Correct.
And where is downstream, just so we know where we are here, for those who don't know?
So the lake has Almaden Creek flowing into it from over here, and then just through the bridge it merges with Guadalupe Creek, and that's the start of the Guadalupe River when our fish ladder is just downstream past this bridge.
Okay, so tell me about the birds that we're hearing them. They're very excited. We're here in the morning. We hear them squawking over there. Tell me all about the birds.
So we've had 4 species of herons and egrets nesting on the island: great egrets, snowy egrets, black-crowned night herons, and green herons, in addition to mallard ducks and common mergansers. There's also Canada geese that nest on the island. So with the Migratory Bird Treaty Act, we have to protect nesting birds. We can't disturb them or remove their nests or impact their nests from our work activities. So in late 2008, we came up with a plan where we removed the arundo in thirds. We started with this side of the island, the eastern side, because in 2005, they had put some native vegetation plantings in some of the open spots, and some of them survived. They were competing with the arundo, so we took that arundo off, removed it, treated it with herbicide to kill it the first year, and then the idea was that those plantings would start to grow, and then the following year, which would have been 2010, we'd take the middle third of the arundo off, plant that, allow those to plant, and then at that point we'd look at removing the remaining third of the island. What happened was the plants that we planted, the native trees and shrubs, were growing, but they weren't quite big enough in 2011. So what we did was for 2012, we treated the remaining arundo on the far third of the island so it was dead, but we left it standing. So in the spring, summer 2012, the herons and egrets nested in the remaining dead standing arundo. So at the end of that nesting season, last fall, winter, we came in and removed the remaining standing dead arundo. So the island was completely removed of arundo. And then this year, right now, here we are, 2013 spring, is the first time that the island has been free of arundo. And from the herons and egrets you can see in the background, we were successful in getting them to nest in our revegetation planting. So you can see this closer end of the island, the vegetation plantings are bigger than the other end. So hopefully in a few years, the whole island will look like this closer end and be completely covered with nesting herons and egrets.
Awesome. So I think there's some stalks of dead arundo around the side. Is that what that is? You just don't take that out because the birds are nesting there?
The root mass is basically what's holding the island together. So hopefully once our native plantings grow and their roots spread out, they will take the place of the arundo roots and hold the island together.
All right. And so you've said that there's a bunch of nests out there.
Correct.
Do we have hatchlings right now?
Yeah, we were out here 2 weeks ago. Part of the challenge is keeping the plantings alive, so we have to water them from time to time, especially in the summer, which is when the birds are nesting. So we worked out a strategy with the revegetation staff where they come out once every 2 weeks. They minimize the time on the island. The revegetation plantings that are being watered are on the open end of the island, so they stay out of the end where the herons and egrets are nesting. Essentially get on the island, fix their irrigation lines, turn the water on, leave the island for half hour. The pumps they use are extremely quiet. Come back, turn the pumps off, and leave without going back on.
All right. So what's your favorite bird you're finding out there?
I like them all. Probably the black-crowned night herons, I guess, if I had to pick one, just because they're different looking.
Yeah, they're very exciting. Are they coming back around this area? Because we've been seeing them at the headquarters building, and I've seen other people posting pictures of night herons on their Facebook. Is it a species that's always been common, and I'm just noticing it now?
It's not. They're not overly common. They've been nesting here on this island for several years. With the island, they're protected from other predators since they have essentially a moat around them. So the nesting's been pretty successful from what we've seen out here. So it could be they're spreading out. Right now, the black-crowned night herons were the first to have nests built. Last week or 2 weeks ago was the first time we saw hatchlings, and they were the black-crowned night herons. The snowy egrets and the great egrets, the white birds, showed up for the first time 2 weeks ago. The black-crowned night herons were here 4 weeks ago, so they're a little bit ahead.
And so there's a lot of eggs on this island?
Yes.
How many? Have you been counting them?
We just document, last time I counted, I believe, about 14 heron and egret nests. We didn't...
14 nests?
I believe so.
Wow.
So I'm guessing from the looks of it, we probably have more than that now. So.
Wow. All right, so this is an incubator over here. We have a bird nursery right in our midst at Lake Almaden.
Yes.
Almaden Lake.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, I'm here with Jocelyn Toralba, and Jocelyn, you work in the vegetation unit.
I do.
Okay, what's your role there?
I'm a senior maintenance worker.
Okay, and you've been working on this project for quite a while?
Almost the whole 10 years I've been here, I've been coming out to the island. There's the earlier planting on this end, so I started by just watering that when all the rest of the arundo was there, and then I've been through all the phases of replanting it.
So you primarily have been going out in this boat and watering these plants in the warm months to keep them going until they're established?
Yes, we kind of go out all year round. There's different activities. We add mulch to the plantings, digging the holes, planting, setting up irrigation phase by phase. And then throughout the summer, we boat out the pump and set it all up.
So there is a whole lot of plants that you or your team has planted out there, and they're all natives. What sort of species do you have planted out there?
We have sycamores and cottonwoods as the main tree types, and then elderberries. The mule fat and willows that we've tried to plant have all been from cuttings. So we go to already adult trees and collect branches, and then you can just stick them in the ground and grow a new tree.
And where are the plantings coming from? I know they're native to this watershed, is that right?
We actually go out and collect seeds ourselves and then germinate them in the nursery and grow them ourselves and then use them on our projects.
The plants have survived, thrived, the rundo's gone, and there's a variety of birds that have made this little island their home.
Yes.
So it's a good
It's a good thing. It's a great thing.
It's a great thing. Why is it so great? Why are you so excited about it?
Well, I just feel like it's success right in my face all the time. A lot of revegetation jobs that we do don't quite last this long in the same location, so we'll go in and we'll plant it and we'll maintain it up to 4 or 5 years, and then we walk away and occasionally go there back on a yearly inspection. But this one has just been going on phase by phase, so it's taken longer, and this is the first year to see them actually on the plants that we grew. So to me, that's just success, 100%. Like, yeah.
Great.
Why we're here.
Okay. Well, I think we'll get in the boat and you can show us the plants, and hopefully we'll see some nests, and
All right.
let's get out there. Okay, we're out here on Almaden Lake Island. This is, I'm amazed at what I'm seeing here. It looks a lot different than it did from the shore, but we got a lot of full-grown vegetation over this way, and so that was the first plantings that you did years ago?
That's the oldest down there,
and then
yes.
it's kind of come down this way to this area here.
Yes, this was the newest that I did this year.
This year, so these are just planted this year?
These are brand new.
And they're already, you're pretty happy with how they're looking, right?
Yeah, so this is that same bush right there.
Is that the mule?
That's
tree?
the mule fat.
Okay.
So
mule fat,
that's,
sorry. So you
that's
just
okay.
you make cuttings and you just stick them in the ground
and you just
here,
stick them in the
they're already
ground
sprouting
and water
up.
them, and these ones are already sprouting, and eventually they'll grow that big, and then eventually they'll grow that big.
Mm-hmm. And we're surrounded by all these stumps of
This
arundo.
is the rhizome that Judy was referring to, the root wad that's coming off. That's another challenge with this. So there's basically only soil kind of in the middle of the island.
Okay, everything else is roots and they can fall off, these rhizomes.
Right, see, that's kind of disconnecting from the island itself.
It's like a glacier
This
falling
mule
off.
fat's the only thing I've found that will grow. So this is actually growing in really root wad, not so much the soil of the island.
Yeah, this whole, it feels
See
like
how it's
peat.
spongy?
Yeah,
Yes, that's because it's just the biomass of the arundo. The actual soil is back behind over there. So that's where I chose to put most of the trees in hopes that they actually had some soil and not just growing into a root mass. The elderberry, which these are all volunteers from the one that's way up in the front. So that's
You said volunteer?
the seed. I did not plant those.
Oh, okay.
So that's another exciting thing is that
Things
it's
are coming back
it's coming
naturally.
up on its own. It's reproducing out here by
That's
itself. There's some more cottonwoods. Also, there's the dead standing trees, well, dead standing limbs that we put in as perches when there was nothing here, so that they had something to use, and they actually did use them. So,
But now they're not.
Now
They
they're
don't need
not.
it.
Now
They
they
got
just
this
go to
beautiful,
the-
the big tall one you said before is a cottonwood?
yes.
Yeah, and it's got a big night
Night
heron,
heron.
black crowned night heron on it. And I see a bunch of egrets nesting there too. So it's like a zoo over here.
It's working.
So Joe, I've never seen so many eggs outside of a Easter egg contest or hunt. So look, tell me about the eggs here. You got some blue ones, and there's another nest over here. What are these blue eggs?
Yeah, so these are new nests this week. Since we've been here 2 weeks ago, these were black-crowned night herons. We saw them when we pulled up. The larger eggs are the Canada geese. There's a large population here on Almaden Lake.
Too large.
We also have mallards that nest here on the island, as well as, for the first time we noticed this year, a common merganser nesting here on the island.
Okay, so got 2 little killdeer nests here.
Yeah, so this year we actually had 2 killdeer nests here on the island. So unfortunately, this box elder won't be getting watered until they're done nesting.
Until they're done nesting.
Hopefully, the box elder will survive.
It's the battle between the plants and the birds.
We have to protect the nests so while they're active. So once they hatch, then this box elder will get watered again.
Okay.
So.
And
Middle. Take a peek here at some of the
these are Canada geese, right? Big ones.
Yes.
Wow, that's a big nest.
Here's another black-crowned night heron nest, and then if you can take a peek in there, it's one of the first one to hatch on the island, and through the brush, a black-crowned night heron juvenile hatchling. So each week we come back every 2 weeks. There's been more and more nests. There's a lot of new nests this week. I counted at least 20 heron and egret nests, and several more under construction. So it looks like they're really liking these reveg plantings.
Now, do they have the proper permits to be doing construction out here?
The native bird builds its nest wherever it wants.
Yeah, lucky then.
So it's everyone watching from shore. We have gotten a large number of calls about people.
Hi, my name's Jerry Sparkman. I work for the Santa Clara Valley Water District. I've been working here for about 27 years. And my division, I'm the Water Resource Supervisor and the Raw Water Field Operations Unit. We operate 10 reservoirs of local water, and we also have 2 imported pipelines that we can bring water into the valley. We operate and maintain 89 percolation ponds throughout the Santa Clara Valley Basin, and those ponds filtrate water from the pond surface into the ground, which recharges the underground aquifers, and that's where a large portion of people pull water from wells out of the groundwater to supply to their homes and businesses. If we didn't have the reservoirs and weren't doing the recharge in the creeks, 90% of our creeks in the valley would dry up completely, all the way back to the source in the mountains. One of the reasons the Water District was developed was the land subsidence in the Santa Clara Valley in the early 1900s. The groundwater was being pulled out at such a rate that it caused land subsidence in the valley. And so through these percolation ponds, And the water recharge program, we stopped that land subsidence and was able to actually refill the aquifer before the land subsided anymore. I enjoy the outdoor work. I mean, I've been out and standing on top of the Sona Dam at 3 o'clock in the morning with horizontal rain and 50-mile-an-hour winds blowing across the dam, having to hold the handrails to guide myself out there to make a regulation on the dam, you know, for flood control. And it's just things like that that, you know, not a lot of people get to do that. Not a lot of people want to go out and do that. Another thing that's made it really nice to be here is the people. A lot of people that I've dealt with are very conscientious about their jobs. The staff that I have now are 5 of the greatest guys you could ever have. One of my highlights was after the '89 earthquake, the Loma Prieta earthquake, was our infrastructure was damaged, and we worked our tails off to get the system back up and running to provide water to retail customers. Being out and seeing nature and other people and interaction with the public has been a really rewarding thing at times, because a lot of people don't understand how they get their water to their tap. Water is life. If we didn't have water in this valley, there would be no valley.